Chapter 1 of John Gutenberg, first master printer, his acts and most remarkable discourses, and his death. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Claudia Salto. John Gutenberg, first master printer, his acts and most remarkable discourses, and his death, by Franz Freiherr von Dingelstedt. Translated by C.W. Chapter 1. As how John Faust, master printer in the city of Mayence, gave his daughter Christine to wife to Peter Schoeffer, his partner, and what came of it. A wedding! How much joy is contained in that word, but even more in the thing itself. You, however, who live in these days, can hardly form an idea of what a wedding was in the good old times, for you possess only the shadow, and even that is of the palest hue. Guests, among whom the husband and the minister appear dressed in black from head to foot, a large room furnished in the modern style, a very prosaic square table on which, after the marriage contract is signed, the repast is served up, the whole accompanied with the stalest and most commonplace compliments, the coldest ceremonies. No, no, a fig for your modern weddings. Reader, you ought to have found yourself at the appointed hour at the great St. Humbert at Mayence, in the street now called La Rue des Savetiers, and which then bore the name of St. Quentin, for that which I relate to you happened in the year of our Lord 1461. Before Mayence became a federal fortress. That was indeed a wedding in the true sense of the word, a grand, a noble wedding. At the moment when the clock struck 12, the procession, attired in most superb garments, came out of the church of St. Quentin, and, having turned the corner of the Rue des Savetiers, took the road to the house of the great St. Humbert. All along the route it was accompanied by the joyous acclamations of the crowd. Citizens, their wives and daughters, opened their small casements and put out their heads to gaze, and the little boys in the street maliciously ran behind the wedding guests, trying to jeer and to mock at the bridegroom, as is still the custom in these days. One, indeed, of the only customs left us of olden times. The sun shed his brightest and warmest rays on the house of the great St. Humbert, for it was on the 14th day of August that Christine Faust, the worthy daughter of the printer John Faust, espoused her father's partner, Peter Schoeffer of Gernsheim. On that day, too, the house of the printer was open to all comers. Those presses, generally so black and so mysterious, were now cornered with flowers. The screws, the levers, the timber groaned no longer under the brawny arms of the workmen, and the paper and parchment remained neglected in a corner. All the inmates were gone to the church of St. Quentin to be present at the marriage. The workmen, dressed in their finest clothes, stood ranged in a goodly group around their chief, who held firmly aloft the banner of the corporation, ornamented with the imperial eagle. The burgomaster himself, Jacob Faust, a master goldsmith, brother of the printer, and rich beyond belief, had come in person to do honor to the wedding of his niece. And how can we find fault with the father of the bride, who walked proudly at the head of the band, arm in arm with his brother the grandee and the renowned goldsmith, if he cast now and then on the assembled crowd looks in which disdain was somewhat mingled? It is
Sample complete. Ready to continue?